Hello everybody, great to be with you. I'm sorry I'm a little bit disorganized this morning. Let me see if I can get this looking a bit better. Porque soy como el árbol de lado que retoña. Aún tengo una vida. I will survive. Okay, now I get it. Okay, so let me just move this. Bear with me just 1 second. And okay, so next stream is on Thursday, which is going to be the 20th of November. And this was this article about how the chemicals in our brain or in our bodies affect us, how our glands affect us. So let's see. Good morning to Maurice and Lando and Manisco. Good morning to Manu and Oksana and Yuri and to Vitali. And okay, hi to Musadube as well, and to Julia if you're both still here. Yeah, you should be. So let's get straight down to it. And that's better. Okay, low levels. Here, I need to put this in the right place. So here we go. Low levels of serotonin have long been advertised, touted, peddled, vaunted as a cause of depression, with most modern antidepressants boosting levels of this brain chemical. So, touted, says Maurits. Touted, says Lando. Hi HCH. Touted, says Vitali. Touted, says Julia. Touted and advertised, says Manu. Touted, says Yuri. Have long been advertised. To advertise is where you put something in a magazine or you put it in on television. Touted for Musadube. Peddled or vaunted. Okay, so let's see, Oksana. To peddle is to sell from place to place. A peddler peddles. To peddle drugs. To sell small amounts of something from place to place. Touted for Victoria. Hi, Victoria. Tout is more positive, yes. I think touted is it is certainly more positive. Peddled is rather negative. And vaunted, you're flashing it, you're showing it off. He vaunted his successes. Yeah, vaunted is Cristiano Ronaldo, exactly, Manu. Look at me, look at how brilliant I am. Touted, very definitely. It's probably the most positive of all of these. I think here you would probably say touted as suggested. Although I know a ticket tout, to tout is to sell. A ticket tout resells tickets outside a sporting event. Vaunted, showing off. Touted, promoted, yes, that's pretty good. Okay, but notice a ticket tout is somebody who buys and sells tickets at a higher price, which has just been banned, or they're going to ban it in the UK. So to tout. And okay, yes. There's evidence that certain estrogens can make serotonin receptors more pliant, responsive, sympathetic, compliant, yielding, and increase the number of dopamine receptors in the brain. Sell over face value. Ticket scraper. Yes, ticket tout is definitely the British word for it. Responsive, says Yuri. Responsive for Manu. Responsive for Maurits. responsive for Oksana, responsive for Julia, responsive for Victoria, responsive for Manisco. So let's see, pliant, responsive for Vitali. Okay, pliant normally talks to a person, talks about a person. If a person is pliant, you can get them to change their mind. Sympathetic is understanding other people's problems. Compliant is somebody who is eager to comply or do what you tell them to. Yielding is to give up, to surrender. But responsive, they respond more easily. Responsible, sensible, more sensitive, very good, Oksana. Responsive says musadude, very definitely. Responsive. Pliant, ductile, malleable. Another theory, ticket scraper. It's an American word. Okay. To see what is under when you're gambling. Okay, another theory is that estrogen protects neurons from damage and can even excite, rouse, motivate, prod, stimulate the growth of new neurons in a region of the brain known as the hippocampus, known to play a role in memory and emotions. Hi, son of Iraq. A draw and lots. Well, the lots are the lots are the different prizes in a draw. You draw lots. Yeah, the lots are the different prizes, the amount. So I don't know what happened, Manu. Hippocampus, memory and emotions. So another theory is that estrogen can protect neurons from damage and even excite, rouse, motivate, prod, stimulate the growth of new neurons in a region called the hippocampus. I hope there continues to be sound. Let me check. Sound is still definitely going in, at least. Have you tried hearing? So sound is working. Propel. Propel is to push forward. I'm not very happy with propel. The engine propels a car. Stimulate earlier. The chat is lagging. Let me do something about that. Let me change that. Get 1 second. I'm right back. Maybe that will help the lag. So ping google.est. Facilitate or enhance, says Mark Symposium. Lagging and nearly stopping. How about this now? I hope this is better. You see, let's see, my ping is about 100 milliseconds, which is okay, which is very normal for what I get. Maxim, thank you, Oksana. Okay. So let's try this question. Stimulate. Okay, so stimulate says Maurits, and it seems to have lost all of these. Okay, so to excite, to make excited, to rouse, to wake up. You rouse somebody who's sleeping. Somebody who's depressed, you motivate them. You prod, you give them a push, a finger, and stimulate. Very definitely stimulate. Okay, let's try the next one and see if... So, yes. So, people with depression and Alzheimer's disease are known to suffer with, from, of, for, about, by. Okay, this is working again. Good. A loss of neurons in the hippocampus. Suffer from, says Yuri. From, says Maurits. From, says Vitali. From for Oksana. From for Lando. From for Manu. From for Julia. From for Victoria. Suffer from a loss of neurons from Manu as well. Okay, absolutely. From for Musadube. From for Manisco. Good, well done Manisco. Lovely to see you. Okay, to suffer from. Yeah, it seems like we're working it. It's working again. Meanwhile, had no neurons when people asked to borrow money. Hi Patricia, lovely to see you. Meanwhile, antidepressants and mood amplifying, advancing, boosting, fostering psychedelic drugs like psilocybin found in magic mushrooms cause neurons to grow in this region. So boosting, says Yuri, boosting for Manu, boosting for Vitali, boosting for Maurits, boosting for Oksana, fostering, says Julia. Mood boosting, says Lando, it's a collocation. Boosting for Victoria, boosting for Julia, boost for Maxi, boosting for Musadure. Amplifying could be. Yeah, but amplifying is normally you amplify sound. Smash the like, as Julia says. Boosting, says Patricia. Mood, to foster. Normally to foster is to help a situation grow. You got the boost COVID shot, COVID 345% a few days ago. So to foster. To foster is to promote something, to help it grow better. Auditory factor dominates when choosing the second part. Okay, mood boosting, very definitely. This boosts your mood. Mood enhancing, yeah, I like mood enhancing, Patricia. Is fostering our learning. It's a good example. So, estrogen is neuroprotective. So it will advocate, promote, back, endorse neurogenesis, says Ismail. Neurogenesis, the renewal of neurons. So Manu says advocate, Lando says back, Vitali says promote, Manu says endorse maybe, Yuri says promote, Oksana says promote. Okay, to advocate is to argue in favour of. So I advocate this course of action, to suggest. Endorse, says Victoria and Manisco. It should be something positive. To advocate. An advocate is a lawyer even. It should be promote, says Lando. Promote, says Patricia. Back. Back is normally with money. Or support. Yeah. Endorse is you say that you think something is good. You endorse a product. So a sports star stands up and endorses a type of shoe. Promote, says Manu. Promote, says Maurits. Endorse, says Maxi. Okay, so promote neurogenesis. It promotes, it makes it go better. To promote is to make something happen, particularly to promote a chemical reaction. To advocate is to argue in favour of. To back is to put your money behind or support. To endorse is to say something is good. But you promote this. To facilitate. Thank you, Vitali. Okay. This is so. I don't think this is going to fit. This is why when women enter menopause we see a retraction of the dendrites, branches sprouting from the nerve cells. The dendritic projections that we had previously, once, earlier, formerly, then, on in life. Earlier, says Oksana, earlier for Manu, earlier for Lando, earlier for Yuri, earlier for Vitali, earlier for Julia, early for Maurits. Previously, says Manu, but look at this on, Manu. Previously on, no. We had previously, no on. We had once, no on. But without on, exactly, Lando. Earlier on in life. Formerly, without the on. Yeah, but then in life, no, earlier on. Earlier is the only one that fits. And this, earlier on, that's it, Manu. This is why women undergoing the menopause often have to handle, treat, take on, tackle, face, touch, deal with brain fog and memory problems. Deal with, says Maurits. Deal with, says Oksana. Face, look at this with, Lando. Tackle, look at this with, Julia. Deal with, says Vitali. Deal with, says Yuri. Deal with, says Manisco. Yes, well done, Manisco. So, often have to handle. I guess handle would work. Deal, says Victoria. Deal, says Julia. Face, but not face with. So, notice this. Have to handle. Have to treat. Have to take on. Have to tackle. Have to face. But have to deal with. You can't handle the truth. Yep, that's it exactly, Vitali. Handle, tackle, face something. Okay, so the handle with, treat with, take on with, tackle with, no. It's deal with. Deal with is the only one that goes there. And so this is a heading title. When our body's stress, answer, response, reaction, riposte goes wrong. Response, says Yuri. Response, says Vitali. Response for Maurits. Response for Julia. Response for Manu. Response for Oksana. Reaction could mass. Our stress reaction. Says Manu. Response for Victoria. Response for Manisco. You see, I think the stress response is how we normally act. I think our stress reaction is how we react at one specific moment. And I think that this makes response a much better answer. His stress reaction in that moment was to start shouting. Riposte is a witty reply, like a rejoinder. Very good. Stress answer, no. It's the response. A riposte, a witty answer. Normal response, yes. Oh, yes, this one. Spot the mistake in the sentence. Default reaction. So there's a mistake in this sentence. A loss of neurons in the hippocampus could have knock-on consequences for another hormone systems known as the hypothalamus, pituitary adrenal axis, which regulates the body's response to stress. Well done, Lando! Congratulations, Lando. Look at this. Systems. Knock on. So knock on is one thing knocks another. Knock on is perfectly okay. You have a line of dominoes and each one knocks on the next. A knock on reactions. One thing knocks on for another. Another in systems. It can't be for other hormone systems. It needs to be for other hormone systems. So I'm going to leave this or I'll never. Yeah, knock on like dominoes, one to the next. Yeah, yes, I think you're right. Other, different, okay. So let's try this. Give me an example of another with plural nouns. I would be interested with that, Vitali. Controls. It depends what you do with the sentence, I guess. So, when we feel anxious, the hypothalamus, a region of the brain that ultimately rules, checks, guides, commands, controls the release of most hormones in the body, sends a signal to the pituitary gland called a release hormone, called ACH. That ultimately, so, a region that ultimately rules, checks, guides, commands, controls. Controls for Yuri and Julia. Checks is an American word for to hold back. Controls, says Lando. Controls, says Oksana. Controls, says Vitali. Controls for Victoria. Controls for Manisco. To check, to hold back. Commands the release. Okay, but command is much stronger. Command is more normally what somebody does. I command you to do this. I was commanded to make this. Hi, Olga. Lovely to see you. For another few weeks, but notice few weeks is a singular set. For another few days, but that is that word few which makes it into one unit. No, it's not a mistake. Another few days, but it's the few that makes it acceptable. That ultimately controls very definitely the release of most of the hormones. But again, the 3 is the modifier, another 3, and the 3 becomes one unit. ACH then inspires, motivates, stimulates, instigates the adrenal glands to release cortisol, a stress hormone. So, instigates or stimulates, says Maurits. Stimulates, says Olga. Stimulates, says Oksana. Stimulates, says Manu. But again, as I say, Vitali, the 3 makes it one unit. A 1-3-I unit. Stimulate, says Victoria. Stimulate, says Julia. So ACTH then inspires. You inspire somebody to do something. You motivate a person. You stimulate a gland. To instigate is to begin something. You instigate a riot. You instigate action. This is somebody who starts something. The sun inspires me to poetry. Stimulates. Okay, and cortisol tells the body to release sugar into the blood flow, blood current, bloodstream, blood course, giving the brain and the body the energy it needs to act in an emergency. Yes, with quantifying phrases. Yes, it works with quantifying plurals. That's very good, Lando. Another set of rules. Bloodstream, says Yuri. Bloodstream, says Maurits. Bloodstream for Lando. Bloodstream for Vitali. It stimulates your brain when you're running. Bloodstream for Oksana. Bloodstream for Julia. Bloodstream for Manu. Bloodstream for Victoria. Bloodstream for Manisco. Exactly. It releases sugar into your bloodstream. And keep going. The HPA axis becomes activated. Whoops. The HPA axis becomes activated when someone is stressed out, and in the short term, that is pliancy, adaptive, versatility, mutability, because it helps your body deal with stress, says Hantsu. But in the long term, it can be detrimental. A bath in one of the streams, yeah. Adaptive, says Lando. Versatile, says versatile. Versatility, says Manu. Versatility, says Victoria. Adaptive, says Olga. Adaptive, says Oksana. Adaptive, says Julia. Adaptive, says Yuri. This is very interesting. Adaptive is a word that psychologists use. If something is adaptive, it helps you adapt to the situation, and things that help you adapt to varying situations are good. An adaptive response or a non-adaptive response is pliancy. Pliancy is more physical. Mutability, changeability, versatility is versatile. That is versatile. Versatile would work as opposed to versatility, but something is adaptive. It's good. It's good. It means you're adapting to a situation. Mutability only in a blue moon. Yes, mutation. So, oh yes, last one for today. Brilliant. This is going to be too big, isn't it? Usually, the cortisol flooding your body should activate a negative feedback loop, whereunto, whereupon, whereto, wherefore, the hippocampus tells the hypothalamus to stop its communication with the pituitary gland, ending the stress response. Whereupon, says Vitali, whereupon says Maurits, whereupon says Lando, whereupon for Manu, whereupon for Oksana, whereupon for Yuri. I'm really impressed. Whereupon for Julia, whereupon for Olga, whereupon it's wet. After this, I arrived home, whereupon I took my shoes off. After which, very good, Lando. Whereupon, after which, these are words only in government documents. So look at this. I even wrote this. Or into court. Whereupon, after which. So whereupon, immediately after that. Wherefore, why, therefore, for which reason, wherefore did you do something as ridiculous as that? Could you explain the whys and wherefores for your action? It was raining, wherefore I put up an umbrella. Whereunto, to which place, to what purpose? Whereunto are you going? When I arrived at the place whereunto I was trying to go, I found a tool whereunto I could use to do what I wanted. Where to what place, to which place? Whereto are you going? When I arrived at the place whereto I was destined. Upon that having occurred, shortly after, whereupon. Okay, that was different, wasn't it? Okay, enough for today, ladies and gents. So, next, thank you all for coming. Next stream is on Thursday, which is the 20th of November at 3:30 p.m. UK time. Thank you, all of you. Thank you, Maxi. Thank you, Julia. Thank you, Vitali. Thank you, Manisco. Thank you, Manu. Thank you, Yuri. Thank you, Olga. Thank you, Manu and Oksana. Thank you, Vitali. Thank you, Lando. Thank you, all of you. Thursday the 20th, Franco is coming again. So, thank you to Julia and Maurits and Lando and Maxi and Manisco and Manu and Oksana and Olga and Yuri and Vitali. It's great having you. I love that. Thursday the 20th. Jueves 20. Okay, so let me put this in capitals. Whoops. I won the whole bit. Greetings to Galicia. It's a beautiful sunny day today. So thank you all for coming. It's been absolutely great. I think I'm gonna leave it with this thing about whereupon. Whereupon, wherefore, whereunto, whereto. Let's see. Whereupon is quite common nowadays. These other three are pretty unusual. Wherefore you might just see. These two, whereunto and whereto, very unusual. So, thank you all. Thank you for coming, Maxi. It's been great having you all. So take care, all of you, and I will see you all on Thursday. So anyway, yeah, bye for now.